Thanks for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. You can find us wherever you find podcasts or listen to music. When you have an opportunity, please give us a 5-star review, write a little note, tell us how we're doing. We really appreciate it. It helps us keep this thing going. If you want to reach out to us, you can find us at Facebook at Hidden Tracks. Instagram is at HiddenTracks99, and if you'd like to send in submissions or talk to us or give us any feedback about what we're doing, our email is myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Thank you so much again for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the show. What's up, everybody? Here we are, another week, another edition of the show. This week I have Matt from the awesome band Mirrortalk with me today. As I doom scroll and spend all my time on Bandcamp and other wonderful music places, finding music that I want to hear and that I think is brilliant. I came along their EP that was called Rest Assured, and from that moment on, I was hooked. Went back, found everything from their first EP. I didn't mean to make it this far to their most recent single this year, Disgrace, and every single thing I've fucking heard so far has been brilliant. So I had to have somebody from the band here, and Matt was happy enough to join us today. So welcome to the show, Matt.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, as I just long-winded on your introduction, said how I found you and listening to your music and finding it, a big thank you for creating something so special that made my ears stand up and want to reach out to you, because I think you guys are headed in a great direction, and creating something that is beautiful, complicated, simple, and brilliant all at once for people to hear. So, a huge congratulations on that.
Really appreciate that. It's very, very kind of you. It's taken a long time for me to be doing something that I think, I can really be proud of, and to hear that other people like yourself are really connecting with it is the best feeling ever, to be honest.
Well, I'm glad I can do that. And I'm sure there's many other people out there that have found it and love it and don't have the opportunity to tell you like I do on this platform. But I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that fucking found it and absolutely love it and just haven't had the opportunity to tell you. But I mean, let's start this off by, if you want to give us a little background about how Mirrortalk became a thing and is doing what it's doing.
Yeah, it took a long time. So I originally had the idea, the name, and I think even the logo and everything since about 2019. And I've been in multiple other bands in Birmingham, where I'm from, for about 27 now. I think I was in my first band when I was 11. So
Do you remember the name of that first band?
Oh, I don't know if I want to say that on it.
You're allowed to. I mean, you have to now. I asked it.
Bear in mind, I was 11. We thought it was a good idea to call ourselves 8-Bit Monster.
Okay.
Based after we all like Scott Pilgrim. And all the little... Now looking back, I'm pretty sure it was 16-bit, so it wasn't even really clever. But yeah, we thought that was a good idea at the time. But looking back, it was not.
Sorry, I had to know.
No, that's fine. But yeah, with Mirrortalk, I had the idea in 2019, I'm pretty sure. And I've still got quite a few friends playing bands, and it's a lot of hardcore in Birmingham. Like I'd always been in metal bands and hardcore bands, and I saw the music video for Stoned Alone by a band called Teenage Wrist, and something just clicked in my brain, and I was like, that's what I want to do. Like, I want to play rock. I love rock. I love metal, but I want to play rock. So I started writing some songs, was asking around like pretty much everyone I knew, like I've got this great idea for a band. I've got the name. I've got some stuff. Are you up for it? Everyone was like, no, not really. So it took a few years, and then eventually our drummer, I'd been in a band with him before, and I was like, I'd asked him about 1 million times anyway, and I was like, please, man, come on, I'm begging you to do this with me. It's gonna be good. And he eventually was like, yeah, okay, fine, we'll see what happens. And that was 2022. So yeah, it took about 3 years. And then the other guys came along. So our one guitarist, Josh, my partner's best friends. He's my partner's best friend's partner.
Okay.
And he'd never been in a band before, but he did play guitar. And he comes from more of like the indie sort of world, shoegaze and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know this might not be what you're into, but you fancy giving it a go? And he was like, I've never been in a band. And I was like, yeah, but you never know. So he agreed to do it. And we were like, cool, right, we've got bass, vocals, we've got a drummer, we've got a guitarist. Amazing. And then I realised I needed another one. So then it took about another 8 months to find a lead guitarist. And then we came across Tom, through, I think that's Chris's partner's friend's partner. There's a lot of partner things going on. But yeah, Tom agreed to do it. And again, he'd never been in a band before, so he was really skeptical. But now I think he loves it even more than I do, which I didn't think would be possible. But yeah, so that's how that started. It took a very long time, but we got there in the end. And I think it's worked out pretty well.
Yeah, no, I mean, from the creation, and I mean, I sometimes it's a really good thing to have fresh blood, especially people that haven't been in bands but play music, and that aren't maybe jaded by a bad experience or had a great experience, and things just people grow up and change, and bands don't last forever. But to have like fresh blood and to be able to create something, and I mean, you got somebody with an Indian shoegaze style. I mean, there is, good tinges of shoegaze in this stuff that's there.
Yeah.
But it's, it's heavier shoegaze, which is what I think that brought me to it, and the vocal styling and everything just fits the way it should. So, I mean, I think you did a great job finding everybody. And if it took a little bit of time to get there, sometimes that's better, and I think that shows in the music that the time behind this is evident.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't still be doing it if someone that I'd asked in 2019 say was like, oh yeah, I'll give it a go. I don't think it would have worked out. I think we say quite a lot that we're very lucky to have the four of us together. I think we all bring so many different things. Like you say, you've got Josh bringing his massive pedal board, so we've got all the shoegazy stuff, and then we've got Tom, who's he loves like guitar players, and that's like he's like he loves God, who's the one that he loves? Steve Vai, Joe Bonamassa, like he loves that sort of stuff. So he grew up playing a lot of solos, and then Chris is predominantly a metal drummer, and I think that kind of comes across as well in a lot of the especially the drum fills. I feel like and it just adds so much more than just if I'd found four people or three people that weren't all the way in, or three people that were just straight up into, or when they came in was already into the stuff that I was working on. I feel like our sound has changed. I mean, the songs that I wrote at the start sound nothing like what we do now, and that is because of those guys. So I couldn't be more grateful that I ended up with the boys that I've got.
Yeah, and when you have that kind of camaraderie and people start to play together and start to feel each other out and can bring more to the table and say, why don't we do this? And like, I can hear some of that, especially with the metal drumming, with like the time signatures and everything that are going on. Cause I pay attention to all that stuff. I'm a nerd when it comes to listening, singling out an instrument for a specific song and just being like, oh, wait, did you catch that? And going back and playing it for somebody. No, right there. See it? Yeah, that's what makes this song. And, sometimes it's lost on certain people. But I mean, those are the things that are just beautiful to me, when you can do crazy different things in a song and it seems so simple and easy, even though it's really complicated.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Now, for you, let's start with your life with music. And, it starts when you're a small child and you hear some music or something, or if you grew up in a musical household, or how things work. Like, there's usually that moment when you hear music for the first time and it makes your ears stand up. Mine was the Beach Boys at 6 years old, changed my life forever. Here I am, 47 years later, still fucking loving music. So, I mean, what was it for you? And do you kind of remember the first thing that you heard as a kid that made you start to fall in love with music and want to know more about it?
I think I've got a couple, but I think the first one, like the very first one, I can't remember how old I was. I was probably around about 6. Was Kings of Leon. So my mum and dad, back when I was younger, well, they still are, but they were always playing the first 2 Kings of Leon albums all the time. And my mum would always try and skip the ones that had swearing in, but so Kings of Leon was the first time that I showed an interest in music. And then I think about a year or 2 later, A Good Charlotte. It was like the same thing again. I saw a Good Charlotte music video, I think it was Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous on a channel that we used to have called Kerrang.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I saw that, and I just remember being mesmerised by the Madden Brothers and just being like, "Oh my god, that's what I want to look like, and that's what I want to do for the rest of my life." So yeah, that was like the second time, and yeah, there's been a couple more. I think a little bit after that, it was like my dad had made a CD, like he burnt his own CD, and I got in his work van the one time, and he didn't realise how loud it was, and he put it on, and it was the first song was Davidian by Machine Head, and I just remember hearing the drums at the start and the riff, and I was like, this is it. Like it's
Yeah.
been like three different times. I've been like, no, this is what I want to do, and that all happened in the space of like 2 years. So they're like all three of those really stick with me.
Yeah, I mean, and that's it's a nice. You have, as I would say, you have your simple rock and roll, which is Kings of Leon, and then
Yeah,
you have your pop punk, which is Good Charlotte, and then your metal of Machine Head. I mean, that's a great foundation to be where you are doing what you're doing and having those to pull from.
yeah, definitely. And I mean, there are others like, but they're probably the big ones in terms of what I'm doing now. But in I don't know if you really have it over in the States, but in the UK in the 2000s, there was a really popular sort of subgenre of music called bassline. Um, and I remember hearing a song called Heartbroken by T2, I think it was. Like, it's like ridiculous, just, you know. But that one really sticks with me because I still listen to that sort of stuff as well. It's not as relevant to what I'm doing, but it's still something that I love and will quite often find myself going back to, like bassline and garage and very, very UK sort of UK coded music.
Now, when you started to find those things, and in a short period of time, you had that music that was, blended to you from either television or family. Do you kind of remember when you started to branch out and seek out, or maybe find your own thing that you were really proud of finding, music wise?
Um, I was actually just talking about this with my partner. Uh, I think the one that there's two bands that come to mind around about the same sort of time. I would have been about 11 when I sort of discovered that YouTube was the thing and I could find any song ever on this magical website. I was like, oh my god! And I came across, I can't remember what order, but it was Bullet for My Valentine and Atreyu. It was a very, very similar time that I found both of those bands, and I was like, "Whoa! Like these are my bands. Like no one's ever gonna know about this. This is for me and me only." Is what it felt like at the time. Only to find out that they're both massively popular bands. But uh, that was probably the first time that I felt that I'd really like discovered my like my real taste in music and something that I would latch onto.
Yeah, it's always fun when you find your pocket, like, when you're growing up, and then you find kind of your scene and your style that you're going to fall into. I mean, I remember it vividly, finding something for the first time, and it was, for me, it was like Face to Face, which is a punk rock band,
Great band.
and finding that at a young age and just being like, no, this is it. Like, this is all that my life needs to be about.
Yeah,
um, and you know being able to find other things along the way, but I always remember that moment of just find, no, this is where I belong, and it makes you feel comfortable in yourself because you're also seeing other people like yourself being into that as well. So
yeah, 1,000%. I just always think about, I quite often think about how that, like I was saying about um, my first sort of memories of being into music. Like I always find, I don't know if this is the normal thing or if you feel the same, but throughout my whole life, until I feel like now I'm at a point where I'm comfortable with just being like, I like whatever. I like pretty much everything. I am one of those guys where they're like, oh, I listen to everything. They're like, really, what about this? I'm like, yeah, I do listen to that. But I've always, like every year or maybe 2 years, it's been like, whoa, no, this is it. And then 2 years later, I find another new band in another, you know, style, and I'm like, well, no, this is it. And then that's it's kind of been quite annoying, especially when I want to play music is all I've ever wanted to
Yeah.
do. It makes it very, very difficult when every couple of years you're like, okay, I'm playing metalcore now, but this is boring. I want to go and play hardcore. That's my new thing.
Yeah. No, I'm like that a lot. I mean, with everything that I do in life when it comes to music, I own a record store, a music venue, have
Yeah,
this podcast for years, and it's like for me, it's always different. It's always I latch onto something new, and it's like, oh my god, this is so good, and I share it with everybody, and then again, I reach out to the artists like yourself, and I have them on the show, and it's like I get so excited when I find something new and want to share it with people. I mean, it's kind of the basis of the show, but it's like this is it for right now, and it sucks for me that it's only week by week,
yeah,
but I'm always searching for that new feeling, but I'm also searching for that new feeling that I want to share with people. And I think that's what's the so great about music is when you find something that you're like, oh my god, this is it, and then you want to share it with somebody. I'm like, that's when I think it just hits differently. Like I don't want to keep things a secret to myself anymore, like I did back in the day, where I'm like, I don't want anybody to know about this band. Like
yeah,
this is mine. This is my hidden secret. But now it's more so, oh my god, I'm absolutely in love with this. This week you got to listen to this, and I'll just blast it to everybody, and I send it out and listen to this, and people sometimes are like, all right, enough, dude. You're listening to way too much music. Stop. But other people are like, keep them coming, keep them rolling.
yeah. It literally happened to me last week. I found a new band, and I was just like, they're not even a new band. They put out 10 songs in 2003 and 2004, and I discovered them last week. And every single person that I talked to, I have like shoved this band down their throat. Like, listen to this. This is the best thing you're ever going to hear in your entire life. It's yeah.
Yeah,
I'll get like that.
there's so many bands too, like, and I think as long as you find it, like, it doesn't matter when it came out. I find stuff all the time. I found stuff in the 70s that no one's ever heard of,
Yeah,
and like I'll play it for them, and they're like, what is this? I'm like, it's a band no one's ever fucking heard of, and it is some of the best shit I ever heard. They only made one album, and then they were gone, and no one ever played music again. I'm like, but I found it, and the most important part is that I found this thing from like 1968, and it's
yeah,
fucking amazing.
yeah, definitely.
Now, do you kind of remember, like, you're saying your whole life you wanted to play music? Do you kind of remember that moment when you started or told your mom and dad that you wanted to, like, hey, I want to do this. What are the next steps? Help me get there.
Um, I remember being obsessed with wanting to be in a band when, like I said, I saw the video for that Good Charlotte song, and I was like,
Yeah.
"That's it. That's what I want to do." And then I wasn't proactive about it for about 3 years after that. I think, um, was I think I was about to turn 11, and I think I turned around and I said I want a guitar. And then my uncle gave me his guitar that he brought in the 80s that he just never really used. Um, and it was like really old. Like it was like rusty, and I was like, it will do. Like, this is all I need. This is perfect. I didn't have an amp, so I just used to play it. And then I think I realised pretty quick that, oh, okay, I think I was, not, I wasn't that bad. Like pretty early on. I think after a couple of weeks, I was already learning like not not smoke on the water. Basically, I was learning sort of real riffs, and I was like, okay, I mean basic ones, but stuff that I actually liked listening to. Um, and then I think that's when my mum sort of realised, like, hold on, he's had that for like 2 months, and he's actually pretty good. Maybe I should support this. Um, and then my mum's been great, my dad's been great, everyone's been great at supporting it. We never really came from a family with a lot of money, so I can turn around and be like, oh wow, I want a brand new guitar and a new amp and these pedals
Yeah.
and blah 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 blah. That just wasn't something that I've ever been able to do even now. You know what I mean? Like, but they were very good. They made sure I always had what I needed to be able to do it. I think I brought the one year I got brought like a £350 Ibanez, I can't even remember the model, and a Boss DS1 pedal, and I was like, that will do me 4 years now.
Yeah.
So yeah, they've always been great, to be honest. And even now, I mean, now that this is the first time that I feel like a band has sort of been doing well. Of every band I've ever been in has sort of been stuck in my hometown, never really left. I think the first time I went out of Birmingham was to fill in for another band that they had a show in Sheffield, and I think their guitarist broke their hand or something, and were like, "Do you want to play?" I was like, "Oh yeah, cool." So I think now at this point, seeing all the years of frustration and I'm going to do it, you can't stop me. I think now that it's actually paying off, they are very proud. Like my mum came to see Mirrortalk when we did our first hometown headliner. We sold out like 120 cap room, which like for me was insane.
Yeah,
because
that's awesome.
we had two guys come down from Newcastle, which is like a long way away from us,
Yeah.
to come to this show, and we were like, "Whoa!" And people were actually singing. And I remember going up to her mum after, and I've never seen her look as proud as she did. So that was really nice to see her, to see it all pay off.
Yeah, no, those are beautiful moments. And I mean, don't sell yourself short with like 120 cap room. One of the most famous venues ever here in New Jersey was it was called Maxwell's.
Mm.
Every single band that you've ever heard of in your entire life has come through and they played there at some point. And it was
Yeah,
it was 100 and I think it was 136 cap room. And it was like, those are the moments and those are the times and those are some of the best shows I've ever seen in my life. And those are the moments that people are going to remember, that I was there at that 120 person show. And now these guys are, one day you'll be playing 500 cap rooms and 700 cap rooms and
yeah.
1200, but it's also that memory for people that are like, man, I remember that. So that's amazing, dude. Congratulations for that.
Thank you. It was very cool, very very cool moment. And I always prefer the smaller shows. Like you say, like the small venues are always the best shows.
Yeah, mine's 100 cap. And my venue's 100 cap. So
Yeah,
I mean, like it's more, and I don't like to use the word intimate. We do have like intimate shows, but we've had emo and punk shows. But it's like it's just more everyone's there for the same reason, and it. There's
yeah,
nobody that's just tagging along type of thing. It's like
yeah,
everyone's there for it. So, and that's what I think usually makes those smaller shows better, because everyone wants to be there. That's there.
yeah, 1,000%. And when we come over to the States, we'll let you know. We'll come play. We'll come through.
Listen, my stage is your stage. That's how it works. So that's why I built it. It is for bands like yourself that I think are fucking awesome to just, hey, here you go. Here's whenever you want, you tell me. And that's why we do it.
Hell yeah. But it might be a couple of years, but we'll make that happen.
We will. Now you played your first show in your hometown and it was sold out. But do you remember the first time in your life that you ever performed in front of strangers and how it felt?
I actually do. When I was in my first band, like I mentioned earlier, we got booked for a gig. I was 12, so it'd been probably about 6-8 months since we wrote 3 original songs and had 1 cover, and we somehow managed to get booked for this gig. And there was a venue the other side of Birmingham from us that we knew about, that did like an open mic night, but specifically for bands. So we were like, right, we'll do that, and that will be like our practice for our first real gig. Literal children, by the way. Like, so we all got in my sister's car somehow. I don't know how we got everything in, but we got in my sister's car. We went up, and it was my mum, my sister, and the cleaner at, at this venue, and that was it. And no other bands turned up. We were the only one that turned up, and we had no amps, so we had to use the house amps. And yeah, that was it. We played to
Wow.
3 people, and 2 of them were my mum and sister.
Well, I mean, the fact that you even kept, played is fantastic. It teaches you humility really fast as a child.
Oh yeah, yeah, and I was still like so nervous. I thought I was going to throw up. Like, but yeah, it like you have to do it. You
Yeah,
absolutely have to do stuff like that, no matter how old you are. It's better to do it when you're young, though, I think. But yeah, that was, it was a lot of fun, actually.
I love that. It's a great story.
Yeah.
Now, how about the first time? Do you remember the first concert you ever went to, and then maybe the first concert you ever got the pick to go to? Because sometimes parents take you to shows that they're going to, but or it could be the same. You wanted to go, and your parents went with you. But your first concert ever?
Yeah, the first one I ever went to was Muse. So I was 11. Yeah, I was 11. And like at that point, I really fell in love with Muse. Yeah, I don't know what it was. I think it was more the guitar than anything, but I was like so obsessed with them. And they were doing a tour, and I was like, Mum, you've got to let me go. And I went, I was like right in the back, well, the back of the side of the arena. So we were like not too far away, but we were right up against the wall. Um, and I just remember I was nervous being in this. I'd never been to an arena like that was that packed, and I was so like nervous being there as being so young that I just sat there with like my hands in my lap, just watching Muse be incredible because they are one of the best live bands. I'll still stand by that. But I think the first one I went to where I wasn't sat down, I was standing, was the Gaslight Anthem, I think.
Mm.
And that was really good. I went with my sister to that, and I had the best time. We were like right at the barrier, and it was incredible.
Oh, yeah, fellow Jersey boys. Know
Yeah,
some of those guys too personally, so
yeah,
that's awesome.
great band. Still listen to them to this day. I think they're so good.
Do you remember like your favorite concert you've ever seen? Sometimes it's usually one of the most recent, but like the favorite performance you ever got to see live.
Oh, that is a very good question. I've been to so many at this point. Like I used to know them all. Like a few years ago, I used to know all of them. Like, and I could tell you the order that I went to them in. Like I was so like I used to keep all the tickets and everything. But um,
Now there's no more tickets. That's why I keep my shows in my notes in my phone. Like
that's a good. You know what? I'm going to start doing that. That's a
I,
really good idea.
yeah, I write all the bands I see. Have to see them perform at least 4 songs to make my phone. I'm always like, has to be at least an EP, which
Yeah.
back in the day was 4 songs, and then you make in the order that I saw you at the venue I saw you at, and just goes in my notes, and it's perfect. I never miss it now. Started in 2017 when they started not giving tickets anymore.
I know. We got physical tickets for something. What did we go? We went to see Nickelback last year, I think, and they sent physical tickets, and I was like proper geeking out. I was like, "Oh my god, we've actually got some!" I've still got them in an envelope. Like I'm never throwing those away. Trying to think what the best. I've been to a lot of ones that that stand out, but the one that keeps coming to mind at the minute is I went to see You Me at Six. I don't know if
Yeah,
they
I know.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that
They were supposed to come to the States, and their fucking show got canceled
No,
for some
no.
reason. I had tickets. I was so excited, and the week before it was like, yeah, they had a problem getting something, and they couldn't come. And I was like, fuck, I really wanted to see that show. I think
Yeah.
because they were playing with Enter Shaqiri too, and
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah. Rest in peace, You Me at Six. You will be missed. My partner went to the last ever one, and I was devastated I didn't go with. I paid to watch the live stream at home because I really felt like I was missing out. But no, so I went to see them a couple of years ago. It was that massive outdoor show. It wasn't like a festival. Well, there's a festival over here called Slam Dunk Festival. It's like a 1 day thing. Um, and they set all the stages up early for that in Leeds so that You Me at Six could do a show there in the middle of the week. And we went up to Leeds and they did Sinners Never Sleep in full. And it was just like perfect weather. There was like a couple of thousand people and it was just like amazing. So that one really, really stands out actually. Like that's the one that keeps coming to my mind.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Now, I'm going to ask you, it's my favorite question on the show. We're going to Mirror Talk. If no one ever heard your music before and
Right.
you could only play them one of your songs to show them, say, hey, this is my band, this is what we do. What song are you playing them?
Oh, no. Never thought about this before. You've really... Ooh. I don't think it would be a song. I love the songs still, but I don't think it would be a song off the first EP, as good as they are. But maybe Decay. It's either probably between, at the minute, because we're throwing some ideas around, and I think that if you asked me this at the end of the year, it'll be a different answer. But with what we've got out now, I feel like either Decay or Disgrace feel like the most complete Mirrortalk songs. I feel like it's got a little bit of everything that we do. So I'd probably say either one of those. But if you wanted to know my personal favourite, I mean, my partner would want me to say Real Love because I did write that about her. But it's probably Things I Don't Feel. It's the most fun to play live. Got the most energy. I'm really, really proud of how that song turned out. I love them all, but if I had to recommend it, Decay or Disgrace, my personal favourite, Things I Don't Feel.
All right. And I mean, don't sell yourself short. I love the first, I mean, Thread and Fingers Crossed are two of my favorite songs. So like they're, I love seeing where a band starts and where they get to. That's so like watching that progression too, from two of my favorite songs to where you are now is awesome.
If you want, after this, I can email you some of the really, really early demos that I did on my phone.
I would love it.
Bass.
Yeah, I would love it. My ears only. I will listen to it and I will try not to judge it.
Yeah, no, but I'll do that. I'll send them over probably tomorrow, and
all right,
you'll see how like the original idea for Mirrortalk, it's like completely unrecognizable at this point. But yeah, we'll do that.
I love that, and I love that question because I love to hear like what you're going to play for somebody, what your favorite song is, and that's like so important that I think sometimes artists forget about it. Like they forget about like that random stranger, and you're just like, yeah, no, I'm in a band, and yeah, play me something. And I love hearing what you would play for somebody because it's always different sometimes too off of what I would play or what someone else in the band would play too, which is I love hearing those as well.
Yeah, I think the only reason I'd say that I wouldn't play something off, I didn't mean to make it this far. As much as I love it, I feel like we were still very much finding our feet at that point. We sort of, I think the other boys would agree that we did kind of rush into recording that just to get something out. And I mean, look, the songs are good. I love them. They're very special to me because without those songs, we wouldn't have been able to do Disgrace or what we're doing now. But yeah, I feel like we were definitely finding our feet. And I think it's obvious as well. But rest assured, we've really sort of hit our stride. And like I say, wait for some of the new stuff later in the year. We will rock your socks off.
Oh, I'm excited now. I love having things to look forward to. So yeah. I'm excited for that.
Come on.
Now, in your life, is there a band, a constant band in your life that you always turn to listen to, sort of your favorite, but more so the band that you're constantly listening to whenever you need to listen to music?
I feel like my favorite band and the band that I always find myself going back to whenever I'll just, if I'm going for a walk or anything, I'm like, oh, I need some music. Yeah, those guys. Blink are the best, in my opinion, the best band to ever make music. I know that sounds very silly because a lot of people would say they're not, but to me, personal preference, I think Blink are the best. They're definitely my go-to. Whenever I listen to so much music, I'm really one of those like music nerds, and my favorite thing in the world is discovering new music. My partner tells me all the time. She's like, "Oh my God, you've got such a, what is it she says? That I have a superiority complex because I always know the most obscure bands." And I'm always, she claims that I go, "Oh, what do you mean? You've never heard of, a band with one monthly listener on Spotify?"
Yeah.
But
I love that. I do that all the time too. I'm like, how have you not heard of this band? And people will look it up. They'll be like, dude, they have 12 monthly Spotify listeners. They've been around for 5 years. I'm like, yeah, exactly. Why haven't they been around for that long? How have you not heard of them?
Yeah, and I never do it to be like, a knob, like, but it's just because I don't really look at that. Like, if I find a band and I think they're good, I won't go, oh, how many monthly listeners, how many streams have they got?
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
I just hear, oh, this is really good. Other people should hear this. But apparently people take it as me being like, oh, what do you mean? You've never heard of, I don't know, insert random band here. But no, to answer your question, it's always Blink, always has been Blink. I think they are the the goats. There owns a couple more. Ever since the whole You Me at 6 thing with them breaking up, I've been listening to them an awful lot as well. And that band that I'll tell you what, since I referenced it earlier, that band that I found last week from the 2000s, a band from Japan called Gundog. And since I've found that band, I haven't stopped listening to them. Like, I was at work last night and I put the speaker on and I was like, oh, what should I listen to? Oh no, Gundog. And they've got 10 songs and it's just, I've put it on repeat for the whole 6-hour shift. This is just the same 10 songs.
That's awesome. Now, do you kind of, I mean, I don't know how prevalent getting your driver's license is over in the UK as opposed to here, but it signifies freedom.
Yeah.
When you were able to get your license and go drive out for the first time, do you remember what you put on the radio to listen to when that happened?
Well, I do have to admit that I don't know how to drive yet.
Okay, then yeah, there you go.
But I feel like I could answer when I eventually get my license. I know the first thing I'm going to do is windows down, Creed, all the way up.
Yeah,
that's what I'm going to do. And I've been thinking this for a long time. When I eventually learn to drive,
can you take me higher? Like that?
Yeah,
fucking
that
yeah.
is
Wow.
ultimate. They're like the ultimate driving band for me.
Wow. Okay.
We covered a Creed song once. We like unironically love Creed in Mirrortalk. We covered My Sacrifice once, and I'll tell you what, it went down really well. I think that the hate for Creed is slowly turning around. People starting to love that band.
No, I mean, hey, I get it. I mean, I was around when they were big. You know, I was in my probably in my 20s when they made it big. And at first I was like, wow, these guys are great. And then when it got too big, I was just like, okay, I can't do this. When it was on all the time and everybody was all about it, I was like, I can't do this. But,
yeah, no, I can imagine if I was like slightly older when they were everywhere, I would hate them now, but I kind of missed that. And then going back and listening to it, it was like, this is cool. Why does everyone hate this band? Same with Nickelback. I love Nickelback. Like, they're like, I wouldn't say they're one of my favourites, but I listen to them an awful lot. I've went to see them now. I don't understand why everyone hates Nickelback. They're incredible.
Well, what I don't understand about it, like, listen, I was never a Nickelback fan. I there was just no redeeming factor for me. It was kind of a run of the mill kind of rock band at the time. There were so many bands doing that. They were just the ones that broke. But when people were like, "Oh, they suck," and everyone I talked to were like, "They suck," I'm like, well, some of you don't think that because they sold fucking 80 million albums and they fucking sell out arenas and fucking stadiums all. So some of you are lying. You know, it's one of those things where like every one of you that I talk to can't hate them. You've gone to a show or you've bought their CD because trust me, I own a record store. People come in with their CDs all the time to sell to me. And there's a lot of Nickelback in there from people that have probably said they've never listened to Nickelback. So that's when I call bullshit on them.
I'm telling you, people hate them because of Rockstar. When that song, I mean, I'm a Nickelback fan, and that song I do not like. But people only say they hate them because of that song. I'm convinced because it was everywhere. I think in the UK it was in the top 40 charts for like something ridiculous, like 3 years or something, like outrageous. So I get that. But if you listen, what you need to do with Nickelback is you need to listen to the songs they didn't release as singles. All the album stuff is incredible.
Well, that's one of the that works for me as I used to do this category where I called it overrated, underrated, where because bands can be both. Yeah. And like, you know, one for me that I always threw out there was like Third Eye Blind. The songs that were their singles are fucking dog shit. But the songs that you never heard, like that were all just on their albums that you've never heard before, are fucking all of them are bangers. They're just amazing. And I'm like, yeah, and now in the world where you can take shit off and you can make your own playlist, I've done that with like a band like that. There's a bunch of bands that I'm like, yeah, they were overrated, but they were also underrated because you didn't hear the shit that you should have heard. Yeah,
it's funny you bring them up. It's going back to another one of your questions earlier. They're a band that specifically the first album is always on. Like, that's like a go-to for me. I just need some music on. I'm putting that self-titled Third Eye Blind album on because it is top 3 albums of all time for me.
Really? Top 3 of all time?
I mean,
And what's your 1 and 2?
I think number 2 is Enema of the State by Blink, and number 1 has always been, for as long as I can remember, not as long as I can remember, for a very long time, Silent Alarm by Black Party.
Okay.
That's my number 1 album.
Yeah, Block Party is one of those bands. Oh my god, I love when somebody mentions Block Party, because I've been a fan of Block Party since the moment I first heard one of their songs so many years ago.
Yeah.
And I've been screaming from the mountaintops that, like, these guys need to be gigantic, because anytime I see them, like, I paid Paramore prices at Madison Square Garden with my wife because she wanted to see Paramore. I went because Block Party was opening, and I left when fucking Paramore came on, because I'm like, it is Block Party. Block Party should be fucking, this is who the headliner should be, because they're better than anyone that they're fucking opening for when they come to the States. And they're so goddamn good and so underrated, and it pisses me off. Even fucking Keely's solo stuff, like, so talented.
Yeah.
And it just fucking, it boggles my mind. Like, there's so many bands from the UK that are so good, and they play sold out shows at the O2 over there.
Yeah.
And they come here and they're playing in front of 1,000 people. Like, another one is Biffy Clyro for me. Like, they're playing in front of 200,000 people, headlining, Reading or Leeds, and fucking come to the States and you're playing in front of 1,000 people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, how do you guys not know this band? Like, when I'm screaming at people, like, I think I know them, but I don't. I'm like, you got to listen to their music because they're so fucking good, man. Thank you for mentioning Block Party. I got to go off on a rant right there.
Oh no, they're the best. And they are unbelievable live. Like, anyone that's listening right now, if you've never seen Block Party and you get a chance, go. Even if you've never listened to them before, just go and see them.
Any chance I have when they're here, I go. I don't care what it is, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm going. I think they played Central Park too one night, and I was just like, you know what? I'm leaving work early, and I'm just fucking going into the city in the Central Park to see fucking Block Party in the middle of Central Park. It was so awesome.
Yeah, they are the best. I'm going to see them again, actually, in 2 months, I think, in Manchester. They're playing like this weird Bolton type venue. It doesn't look like crazy big, but it's fairly big. And they're doing Silent Alarm in fun, which I did last time I saw them as well. I kind of understand it, but I would like to see them play some of the other stuff as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, you're still gonna you'll get other stuff in it, but
yeah, I remember last time they did Silent Alarm in a really weird order. They didn't play it in order. I know they don't have to, but they played it in a very bizarre order, I remember thinking. And then I think we got like 4 other songs at the end. But I want more. Than just the 4.
Yeah, I like how and this is another band who gets shit on a lot too. Weezer recently was doing the anniversary of the Blue album and went to see Weezer, but what they did was, what I loved was, they played 3 songs off of every single album that they had. So you were getting, and then they ended the show playing the Blue album in its entirety. So it was really cool, because you were thinking you were going just for the Blue album, which is great. But at the same time, you just got all these other songs from these other albums that you liked. And, for me, it was Pinkerton, which was my album that I loved so much. But like, you're getting all these other, and I was like, that's the way to do it. Like, if you got this catalog of music, let's add to it and then fucking end. Because I mean, I think the Blue album was only like, I think it was like 38 minutes long, I think, in total with the songs. So like, you're not going to fill a whole show that way, but I really enjoyed the way they did that.
Yeah, I'm hoping now that I know that is something that bands can do. That Block Party will do that next time I see them, because
send them a message, tell them to do that.
Yeah, what made me sad was people had gone to see Silent Alarm, which again I totally get. I think it's a masterpiece of an album, but then when they finish playing Silent Alarm and they started doing other stuff, quite a lot of people were leaving, and I was like, if you do it the other way around, like Weezer did, they have to stay.
Yeah.
They have to listen to the other stuff.
Well, that's what The Cure did too recently. I mean, it was a 3.5 hour show, so I can understand why people can't stand around or sit around for a 3.5 hour show sometimes. Mm-hmm. But I mean, you got they went on, I think they played 19 songs to start, and they mixed in a couple hits. Newer stuff was in there too, which I was happy about.
Yeah.
But then they come back out and did a 7-song encore, and then went back off and came back for a 16-song encore. And the 16
Whoa.
songs of the encore was like every fucking hit you'd ever known that most of the people were probably there to hear. But I loved how it kind of, hey, listen, we're going to do it, but we're a band and we've been around for fucking almost 40 years. We're going to play some shit that maybe you may not recognize or you don't know all the hits, but here it is. And I was in my glory. My poor wife was just like, after like 2 hours, she's like, this is really long. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I get it, but I'm not leaving until this scary Long Island medium, as I said, he looked like at that time. But I was like, I'm not leaving until this is 100% over. So we're staying, and I'm glad we did.
Yeah. It is annoying. So we went to see The Cure again a few years ago. And people were definitely, not everyone, a lot of people were definitely only there for Boys Don't Cry, Friday I'm in Love, and it really showed. Like, so they did those right at the very end in the second encore. It wasn't quite 16 songs, but they did 2 encores again. But like, they were playing new stuff from the new album that hadn't been put out yet, and people were like looking around as if to be like, what are they doing? Because it's so like ambient and cool, and I was like, whoa, this is unbelievable. And then they played Burn, which is like one of my favourite songs by them. And people were like, when are they going to play Boys Don't Cry? It's like, come on, man, come on.
Speaking of crying, do you remember the last song you cried to?
Ooh, it's probably something by, I'll tell you what it probably is, because if I'm in that mood, depending on the mood, if I listen to, what's it called? Is it Sleep? Do You Sleep Anymore by Citizen? Or the other one. Oh my God, why am I blanking on the names there? The one about crashing the car. The Night I Drove Alone. That's the one by Citizen.
Yeah.
Either of those songs can get me, and it's probably one of those.
All right. World's going to end in 5 minutes, meteors hurling into the earth, and you have to listen to one song and one song only. What are you listening to?
Oh, wow. Ooh. That is a very, very, very good question. It'd probably be this. It would change like every day. Probably for some reason. It's just going to sound really probably random, but well, I've forgotten the name of the song as well. I'm so bad with song names; it's ridiculous. It's Limp Bizkit, but I can't remember the name of the song. It's the one, the cool one when he's like a redneck fucker from Jackson. That's the one that I'd put on, but I can't remember the name for some reason, even though I listen to it all the time.
I listen, after 200 over 250 episodes, you're the first one to ever pick a Limp Bizkit song, so I fucking love it. I love that that randomness right there. Great answer.
I live for 90s and noughties stuff. That's like my stuff there. You know what I mean? Like, they're a great new bands, but if I'm gonna listen to music, it's probably something from the 90s or noughties.
Nice. All right. If your home is on fire, everyone gets out safe and sound, all living creatures get out perfectly safe and sound, and you can run back in and grab one musical oriented item, what's the one thing you're running back in for?
I think that would have to be my bass, because if I don't have that, I can't go and play shows anymore. And that's like, that would be the first thing I'd probably grab, even if it didn't have to be a music oriented object.
Yeah.
Just because I've recently had, I mean, I've been doing it for a long time, but I've recently had the realization that there is nothing. My partner again will be probably quite angry about this, but there is nothing that.
Tell them not to listen to this.
Oh no, she's been telling everyone that I'm doing a podcast.
All right.
She's been telling all her friends and families. Oh, but no, it'd been my bass, because I've realised that nothing quite makes me as happy as playing live music, and I wish I got to do it more often. But yeah, definitely the first thing I'd do is I'd run in, find my bass, grab it, and then I'm happy for the for the rest of time because I can go and play shows. Doesn't matter that the house is burnt down. That's fine. There can be there'll be a new house at some point.
No, I love that. I love the explanation too. That's yeah, it's always it's a hard question, you know. It's to answer, especially like if you have a lot of stuff too. Like if it were me, forget it. I don't even know. Like I have so much stuff from memorabilia to photos to autographs to handwritten lyrics to records. I don't know. I'd just be like, oh fuck, I'm just going down with the ship probably at some point.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really have. As a musician, I should probably have more, but I don't really have all that much music related stuff. Because I think if I did, it would be a problem, and there'd be nowhere. You wouldn't be able to move around our house.
I understand that. That's why I have my entire section of the house that is. I mean, I own a record store and a venue as well too. So it's like having all this other stuff. It's like people come to. When I first built the record store, my friends came in. They're like, "You essentially just built your basement into a storefront. Like that's all you really did." I'm like, "Yeah, but I still have all my own stuff at home." They're like, "Yeah, that's a problem."
Yeah. I need to, keep my music stuff away from where I live because it would be. I'd rather have music knowledge than music objects because
Yeah.
if I had the same amount of objects as I do as stuff stored in my brain, it would be ridiculous. We'd need a house probably about 5 times bigger, and even then, I don't think it'd all fit in there.
Well, Matt, I've really enjoyed talking to you, and we're going to be coming in on our final segment here in a second. So right now, I'd love to give you this opportunity to tell everyone how it is they can find you, how to find all your stuff, and to keep up with what you guys are doing.
Yeah. So we're on Instagram. That's probably the main way that you'll see anything that we're doing. We do have a Twitter, but we don't use it. So I think it's the same as I'm at Mirrortalk Music. But yeah, Instagram is definitely the way the way to go. If you want to keep up with anything that we're doing, we do try and post on TikTok as well. I think that's at Mirrortalk Band though instead of music. I think Mirrortalk Music was a little bit too long. Yeah, and Spotify, any of your streaming services, we're on just about everything. Yeah, give us a follow, check out the stuff. If you like it, please feel free to message us, let us know. We love it. We love, hearing anything related to us. Even if people hate us, tell us. Let us know what we could do better, But
yeah, don't say that with all the fucking assholes out there that'll, you could have changed that bass line in that one. Yeah, fuck off.
Oh, I'll play root notes, and that is all I do. That is my one. Well, not my only job, but that's the one thing I will always do for the rest of the time that we're a band. Expect me to play root notes and only root notes.
All right. Well, we are in our final segment. Our final segment is called our Weekly Threes. It's 3 things you're listening to that you would like people to check out. You give your 3, then I give my 3. Any 3 things that you've been listening to lately that you would like other people to check out?
Ooh. So I mentioned them earlier. Gundog. They're a band from Japan from 2003, 2004, and then they broke up. They got 10 songs out. I don't know if they're on all the streaming services, but they are on Spotify. Check that out. If you're a fan of like 2000s WWE metal, as I call it, then it's definitely for you, and that is something I grew up with and I absolutely love. So those guys, go and check those out. What else have I been listening to? Believe it or not, I've been listening to a lot of White Zombie lately. And if you've never given White Zombie a go, because it's Rob Zombie, and I know that people are very, love-hate with Rob Zombie, check out White Zombie. It is so cool, so heavy and funky. Yeah, really big on White Zombie at the minute. And one more. Oh, there's a new band called Chain. I think they're based in California. We just played a show with those the other weekend. They are absolutely killer. They've just put out a full length. It's their first release full length album. really, really cool
Yeah,
stuff.
it's called No Spirit. I've listened to it. It's great.
That's the one. Yeah, they are a band that people should be listening to, and they are super nice guys. So go and support those guys as well.
Awesome. Good 3. My 3 for this week. My first one is a band called Motherwind. The name of the album is Say It Like You Mean It. They're kind of an alt rock band. It's kind of like grungy alt rock music from back in the 90s, but it's new. So I love that when people are, bringing old stuff to the forefront. Next is a band called 19 Miles Per Hour, all spelt out. The name of the album is called Inner Thoughts. They're kind of like a power pop punk band from Utah. Really good, great melodies, great vocals. Like that's, in my power pop love of music that goes well.
Nice.
And last but not least is a band called Co-Defendants. The name of the album is This Is a Crime Wave. It's Fat Mike from NoFX's most recent project. It's kind of like ska punk meets hip hop. It's really unique. Lead singer Get Dead is the lead singer of the band, and I mean it's unique, and you'll find yourself being like, I'm not sure I could like this, but I'm absolutely in love with it. And that's what I love about music. It's like, this is really different. I don't know if I'm supposed to like this, and it takes everything from you. So those are my 3 for this week.
I'm gonna go check those out now after this as well.
Awesome. Well, Matt, again, thank you so much for being here. And thank you mostly really for creating the music that brought us together from, worlds apart. I don't think people really take music to heart and really understand that you can have a conversation with anyone about music. And I think we live in a better world if everybody just went to a concert and talked to each other. I think it'd be a lot better. But so what you're doing is extremely important. I want you to know that. It's important to a lot of people who may not have had the opportunity to tell you, but I have the opportunity to tell you. I want to let you know that it is extremely important to me, and I cannot thank you enough for creating that music that brought us together.
Oh no, mate, honestly, thank you for having me and for being so cool, and for all your kind words. It's pretty insane. It's not lost on me that how cool this stuff is, and to actually talk to people that like what we do. It's still, as a still a small band, it's just nuts. That people from all over, care. So honestly, thank you for letting me have this chat with you, and it's been really cool.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much. And everybody out there in the world, you know what time it is now. It's time to go out, listen to Mirror Talk, and have a great fucking time.
Nothing changes but the weather.
Thanks again for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. We hope you enjoyed this week's show. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at HiddenTracks99. Also, send all your submissions myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Tune in next week. You may find your new favorite band, and don't forget to go out and have a great fucking time.